وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعن الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقان الحميد: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها المزمل قم الليل إلا قليلا نصفه أو انقص منه قليلا أو زد عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا إنا سنلقي عليك قولا ثقيلا. آمنا بالله وصدق الله العلي العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We have been discussing the first 5 ayahs of Surah Muzzammil, the 73rd surah, in which Allah says, O you who have wrapped up in your garments, rise to pray in the night except a little. Half of it or lessen it a little, or add to it and recite the Quran as it ought to be recited. Surely we will make to light upon you a weighty word, qawlan thaqila. Now we have introduced Surah Muzzammil, that it discusses that Rasulullah Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was told that he needed to rise up and take a responsibility, undertake a great responsibility, and that this responsibility required self-building and a spiritual heart, in which there is a program that some of the aspects we have discussed, some we will discuss as we go along, inshallah. And it says that the self-building program is also within the pages of the Quran. So we need to pick up from the Quran those levels that are there for spiritual development, because the Quran itself and the self-building that one would undertake for this would strengthen his faith, it would strengthen his resolve, strengthen our taqwa, and also the training of the soul. Though the addressee of this is Rasulullah, it is also for us as followers of Rasulullah to take lessons from this and implement this, inshallah. And that the most important aspect is that the Quran should not be considered as any other book like we take other books. It is something that needs recitation in a manner that the author wants us to recite, understand, and implement. And these are the requirements of the Quran. Now, last time, earlier on, we have also looked in the Tafseer, that there are 3 primary and essential principles of self-building. And that we have discussed a few things about them, but these are that will allow us to go through all the difficulties that may come in life and see through them, and we will be able to overcome all of them the way the very few people who had accepted Islam at the hands of Rasulullah in the earlier days actually did. And these are the teachings of the Quran: Salatul Layl, and proximity to the essence of Allah, traveling towards Allah, effort towards getting nearer to Allah, the Salatul Layl and the Quran, 3 things that are the essential aspects of what will take us forward. And that we need to look at the spiritual development. Now we said that spiritual development, the whole program is in Surah Bani Israel, which is the 17th surah. And these are between the verses 70 and 84, and there are 12 major aspects that Ayatollah Nasir Makarim has quoted in his Tafseer, in which we have discussed about 8 already. It says we have discussed the times of wajib salat as prescribed, the witnessing of the morning prayer, Salatul Layl, Maqam al-Mahmud, seeking of divine assistance, 3 factors of success: truth will always prevail, the rising of the Imam of our time, Imam al-Hujjah al-Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. We have discussed these 8 aspects. Today we want to go to the next one, which says, the next ayah, which is ayah number 82 of Surah Banu Israel, in which it says, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةً لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا. And we reveal of the Quran that which is a healing and a mercy to the believers, and it adds only to the perdition of the unjust, meaning there is only khasara for those who are the zalimeen. Now when we look at this, it says Quran is a curing prescription, and that there is a difference between healing and mercy. Inshallah, that will come later on. But we want to first look at it that the Quran is a healing, is a curing prescription. And also it says that there are three factors of success. What are these? Sincerity of purpose, Tawheed and awareness of Allah at all times, and our responsibility towards Allah. And the third is assistance from Allah through dua, tawassul, and the strong will. We have discussed these three, but this is a reminder to us. Now, last time when we were here, we also discussed, that batil is something which is fake, which is rootless, which does not have any basis, and will always be eliminated, whilst truth is one that is sure, like water. It is not foam. Batil is like foam and will go away, whilst water, which is life-giving, will remain, and haqq will always remain and overcome batil. And that the principle is one of hope for all mu'mineen who believe that truthfulness will always come to their aid and will always make them successful. At the same time, whilst the coming back of the Imam of our time is a certainty, it will happen, because Rasulullah has also said that even if there is one day left before Qiyamah, he will come and establish truth and justice and remove oppression. Yes, however, and this is one of the ayahs that are also talking about the Imam himself. However, the Tafseer tell us that this is not the only thing. This is a principle of Allah that was there always, then, and also will remain always. That truth will prevail, and that truth will always overcome falsehood and batil, one day or the other. Though Allama says that you will see that in batil, you will see that there is a lot of noise, there is a lot of things that you would say a show-off of achievement, and that there is a temporary blasting effect. It's so interesting, everybody is after it, everybody is talking about it, and there seems to be prosperity and strength, but it is all on the surface. There is no depth to it, and that will die out soon. And we should be very careful, and this is something which is a principle of Allah, that at all times and in every era and every nation and every land, this is the principle. Truth will always prevail. Now, when Allah says, and we reveal of the Quran and that which is a healing and a mercy, what it says is, until Allama tells us that until now, the first 8 aspects that we have discussed, these were based on Tawheed, monotheism, and also the organizing campaigns against batil and paganism. However, it says now the next 4 which are there, specifically this particular verse, he says and explains that this is the constructive impact of the Quran. How the Quran impacts us. And the Quran is a curing prescription, and that is a cure for us. Every word of it, every verse of it is a cure for us, and it makes us better and curing our ethical as well as social diseases in our society. The Quran is the basis of it. And one of the emphasis is that it is neither partial healing. Allama explains that this is not partial healing. And nor are some of the verses that heal and others don't. Every word of it, on the contrary, it suggests that everything the Quran is in itself a healing. The Quran is a healer for us, for every ethical and every social issue. And it is not that it is partial, that this particular verse will do the trick and this will not do. No, it is a complete Quran. Any verse and every verse is a healer for us. And that the Quran is a guide for us. How? It's a prescription. If we do not take the prescription, it does not happen. Like the doctor gives us a prescription, we need to go to the pharmacy and get it. And this is the same way, that this is a prescription. We have to go and get the prescription and then take the medicine that the Quran gives. And he says that, Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala. Allama then explains that this is a guide for all. Quran is a guide for all and a cure for all healing. However, only those who have the tawfiq will take it, they'll open their soul for it and remove the form of fighting and obstinacy and enmity towards it, they will benefit. Those who will not implement it will not benefit out of it. And that is a discussion that will come later on, where the second half of the ayah says that those who are zalimeen will be in khasara. So this is something that we must understand, that the prescription is for us, but should we not take that prescription, then it is not going to be a cure for us. I can call myself a Muslim, I can call myself a mu'min, I can call myself whatever I like. But if I have not implemented the program of the Quran, the way the Ahlul-bayt have taught us, then I will not benefit out of it. The verse also tells us that those who have ill intentions, those who are always planning and plotting and have ill intentions and who are obstinate, will gain nothing but additional disadvantage. Now here I want to pause for a moment and make a comment which is very important at this in today's times. Is many times we start fighting the other people, saying he is like that, they are like that, the community is like that, or their belief system is like that. We need to educate them, not start swearing at them, because they do not know what is the right thing. They do not know the depth of the Quran. They do not know of the teachings of the Ahlul-bayt. We need to open the doors to them and show them the teachings and the real teachings of Islam before we start sending out la'na to everyone and anyone who does not follow our creed. It is very important, and this is a very important principle. Even and all ulamas are of the same opinion, that we should be very careful in whom we do la'an to. La'an are those who are obstinate, who know the message yet fight Islam. Those who do not know need to be taught Islam, need to be shown the real Islam. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ala. Then Allama gives a very interesting example. He says the Quran is like rain. Rain is pure. There is no doubt about it. The water that falls from the cloud is pure and its purity is known. However, when the rain falls upon a swamp, it stinks further. But when it falls upon a ground which is fertile, then it grows fruit. So the Quran is the same. When it falls upon a swamp, if I am a swamp of humanity, then what will the Quran do to me? I will always look at it and start reading it otherwise and make other meanings out of it. But if I am a fertile ground, then there will be fruit that will come through it. And this is a very important aspect. And he says the Quran heals the mental stagnation. Quran is something that develops somebody who has accepted the message, who goes towards it and tries to get out of it, and it treats hard-heartedness and insensitivity. Meaning, if we are hard-hearted, Quran is our cure. If we are insensitive, even then Quran is our cure. And then he gives us a couple of examples by saying that the Quran is a healing. It removes those illusions that we live in. Many times we live in the clouds. Oh, this and that and the other. Quran is a reality. It will remove disillusionment, he says. And it is harmonious. The Quran is very harmonious. At the same time, it is one that attracts the absconding soul, meaning that the one whose soul is living and running away, it will attract him. Its eloquence attracts the fleeing soul. Its ordinance and commands remove and uproot superstition and its beliefs. See, we all come with a culture and a baggage. It's not us only. Every community has its own cultural background, and sometimes we come up generation after generation trying to be scared about certain things, about superstitions or some certain things. Or my one slipper sits on the other, I will start traveling and things like those. These are superstitious beliefs that have no basis. And therefore, the Quran is a healer for that, and its ordinances and commands removes such beliefs from one's heart. There is nothing about these superstitions that we need to know. The recitation and contemplation cures our negligence. One of the things that the shaitan takes and whispers us towards is negligence, and this Quran is its recitation and its thinking about it will cure that disease of negligence. Its recourse is a bodily, it cures the bodily disease, and its guidelines illuminate all kinds of darknesses. The guidelines that are there in the Quran is full of guidance and removes all kinds of darkness. Then he explains that Quran and difference between material remedies that we have in this world. He says material remedies is far away from Quran. Healing does neither have a side effect. Many times we look at the ads that come on the television, or this can cause heart attack, and yet he's selling the medicine. Or this can cause you a kidney failure, but yes, he's selling the medicine. There are side effects to these medications that are prescribed, and he says Quran is far from it. It neither has any side effects, nor is it outdated. Many times, especially in the medical field, you see that these medicines that were sold in the 1970s and 80s are now outdated. These are not effective anymore. Quran is not outdated. And one who is cured through the Quran, this is a very important thing. One who has been cured through the Quran will himself become and serve as a cause of curing others. When one is cured by his soul is cured by the Quran, he will become such that he will himself become an attraction. Especially if we look at our own selves, when we go and meet the ulamas, what we see through them, how they inspire us when we just look at them and hear them. It is so important that the one who is cured by the Quran will himself will become a cause for cure of others. There are no errors or blunders in the Quran. Quran is perfect. It is not a test and trial method that we have in this world. It is readily available for all. Quran is in every home, in every masjid, every place that you go, Quran is available, and there is no difference, by the way, between a Shia Quran or a Sunni Quran. There is nothing like that. The Quran is same, whether it is in Masjidul Haram or whether it is in the Haram of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. It is no different with the one that we have in our house and our mosque is the same as that which is there in any other Muslim's house. It is the same, there is no difference. It is readily available for all, and the physician who has made this prescription, which is the author of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, not only knows us very well and our diseases very well, but He also loves us. Sometimes, with all due respect to the doctors we have, sometimes the doctor doesn't love us, doctor loves our pocket. Allah loves us. He wants us to be healed and cured. And His prescription is perfect. And He knows it very well. His prescriptions are for all ages. The same Quran is for the 8-year-old child or the 80-year-old old man. It is for all ages and all times. Whenever it has been applicable 14 centuries and will remain applicable until the day of Qiyamah. And then Allama says that the prescriptions of the Quran does not have any duplicates. There are no fake ayahs of Quran that are floating around. There are no duplicates and no generic medications. There is no generic version of it also. It is totally pure and perfect directly from Allah. And here he quotes a hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And he says, surely the Quran consists a cure for the greatest ailments, namely unbelief, kufr, hypocrisy, nifaq, revolt, and seductions. These are the major ailments of the soul and the heart, and the Quran is the cure for them. And we will see that whenever we have any issues like this of our heart, of our soul, then we should be reverting to the Quran and make it our prescription for cure, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the tawfiq to be able to read the Quran the way Allah wants us to read and implement it the way the Ahlul-bayt alayhimus salam have taught us. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin. Wow.